Hello and welcome to Airport CEO. Brand new game for the channel. If you have not seen this game before, we are basically taking on the role of an airport CEO, managing our own airport. We'll build from the ground up, very small, and work our way up. This will be a extreme mode playthrough, so it is going to be quite difficult, but we'll see how we go. We're going to jump straight in, and I'll go ahead and design this character. Now, unfortunately, the customization options are a little bit limited, but this is what we'll go with. I do actually have a full beard, but that is not an option in this game. Devs, please. But yes, this is us, ChubbyPanda. Let's go ahead and continue. We are going to start in Melbourne, because I did live there for a little bit of time. We do have sometimes we'll need de-icing during winter. It's an average temperature, rare precipitation, humid, some wind, somewhat cloudy, pretty average sort of thing. And this will be, of course, Melbourne Airport, and it will just be MEL for the tag. We're going to go ahead and choose Melbourne Airfield because I kind of like the look of that logo. And as I said before, airport management mode will be set to extreme. Don't even bother. This is the worst job you'll ever have. We'll start with a horrible $500,000 in cash, and emergency events are very common. This is going to be interesting to play with. I haven't played a lot on extreme mode, but you know me, I like a challenge, so this is what we are going with. We'll go ahead and launch that and wait for it to load. All right, here we are. We are going to skip the tutorial because I know what I'm doing, and I'm going to try and explain what is going on as we go through this. So the very first thing that I want to do, which is a nice little tip, is if we go into our contracts, which is where we hire a bunch of people, and we go into offered contracts under economy, you can see we have these two options here. We have Brickley, which is actually a 3-star, which is good. Sometimes this won't show up. Sometimes you'll only have 1- and 2-star contractor contracts. So if that is the case, just let the game run until about 8:30, and it should, in theory, update this. This is actually a really fantastic starting contract. 121 maximum contractors at $5.20 an hour. That's actually really quite good. So we're immediately going to sign that, which gives us access to some construction people. We're going to go ahead and deploy all 121 of those people, and that will start once the game runs. But before that happens, we need to set up some things for them to build, basically. So I'm going to go into a little bit of a time lapse here. I'll do a little bit of planning, and we'll come back and I'll explain everything that we've sort of laid out as we let them build it. So we will be right back. And with that all planned out, our workers won't actually start building this because this is all planned. You can actually toggle between planned mode and construction mode by just pressing P. And when it's white like this, you are just planning things and they won't actually build it. So that is an important tip to keep in mind. Now, to get them to actually build these things, we go into the building tools, build planned objects mode, and we can just select whatever we want to be built. So to start off with here, the only things we really need, because we can currently only accept general aviation, is we need our runway built. We need our runway ramps to be built, and then we need our taxiways to be built. And at least one stand. We also need the aircraft tower, the ATC, to be built before this runway can be turned on. So that's all I want them to build right now. Once that's done, we'll go ahead and build the rest of these 9 aircraft stands to get those up and rolling with general aviation to get a little bit of money coming in. The only other thing that I want them to do is some of this terminal building so we can hire some staff and actually start our research, but I'm going to let them go ahead and do this first because I think that is going to be quite important. So we'll let this run for just a second as they get to work on all of that, and we'll be back in just a minute. One thing I will note as they are building here, you might have noticed that I made these taxiways only 1 wide, but I did leave space for 5 wide taxiways. That's because while a 1 wide taxiway does work, realistically the small aircraft are 5 tiles wide, so I would like these to be 5 tiles wide at the very end, but this just saves us a little bit of money from the get-go. Now that they've completed all of that, we can go ahead and open our first runway. This will just for now be general aviation, so we need to go into the tab menu, go to Operations, Airport Control Panel, and open up the airport and allow general aviation. That will allow normal planes, private pilots to come in and land at our airport. Of course, the other thing we want to do is go ahead and tell them to build the rest of these stands for this runway. That will open those up and actually start making us some money. So we'll go ahead and let this run again. We should see an aircraft coming in relatively soon. There we go. There's one now. And the other thing that I want to do is just make sure these ramps are set up so that they can only go one way, so we don't have any backlogs or confusion. So we have our first plane coming in. It is coming from King Island Airport, which is a little island just off the coast of Melbourne between Tasmania and Victoria, which is interesting. It will come on in. It will take a little breather for a minute, and it will basically get no services because we don't have fuel or anything unlocked just yet. But it will sit here, it will not refuel, and eventually it will go ahead and take back off again. So that is good to see. Because I have a new option here, if disabled, this stand will only accept domestic flights, and if enabled, this stand will only accept international flights. This is from a mod that we have installed. Don't worry about that too yet. We'll get into that a little bit later on if it comes up. But yeah, that's our first airport technically running. We'll just wait for these stands to build, and then we'll go ahead and get some staff in to do a little bit of research. All right, we officially have 10 stands. That means we should technically be making money at this point. Not a lot of money, but some money. I don't know if we have enough to actually be able to afford to build this entire terminal part. Let's have a look. We say, I want you to build the whole thing. I think we will. I think we can build this whole thing, and that means once we're ready, we can go ahead and start accepting some actual commercial flights, which will be nice. But we need to set up a staff room first. So we go to staff room, and we need to sort of figure out where we want this to be. I'm thinking something like here should be okay. Maybe even smaller. That's probably plenty. And then I also want some walls on here, just to keep the stuff a little bit more isolated from the general public. And then of course we also need some doors to get into our terminal. So we're going to have our main doors over here. This will be for the general public to come in and out. But then we also need a little door for our staff room. This staff room might end up not being big enough in the long run, but we'll see. Then we need to go ahead and grab some office desks, make sure they're rotated the right direction, and fill this room with desks so our staff can get to work. We can leave a 2-tile wide hallway down the middle, and we'll just go ahead and put in a bunch of desks, because eventually we'll have a bunch of employees, and these only cost us $250, so I'm not too worried about overspending here. I think that will be absolutely fine. And then the only other thing they kind of want is somewhere to sit and relax, so we'll grab ourselves a couple of sofas. It's like so. And since we have a little bit of a gap there, we can also throw in some plants. That is going to be our main office with 8, 12, 9, 21 desks, if my math is correct. It might not be, but that's fine. And we can go ahead and let them build that out, and then we can go ahead and start hiring some employees. We're already down to $60,000, so you can see just how difficult this extreme mode is, but I think we should be okay. Once we've got some of this stuff built, we can go ahead and dismiss some of our contractors. We might even do that right now. If we go into construction, we can dismiss, say, like, I don't know, keep maybe 50 people on. So if we dismiss like 71 people, that should be fine. 51 people should be more than enough to get everything. Oh. Accidentally pressed the max button instead of the dismiss button. It happens. So 71 people dismissed. We now have 50 deployed contractors instead of 121. That should save us a little bit of money. But they're getting this done nice and quickly, which is great to see. You can see our aircraft stands are starting to fill up, and we should be slowly making some money. But with our staff room ready to go, we can go ahead and jump into, where is it? Operations and R&D projects. And we can start working on a commercial license. This will unlock a whole ton of stuff. We'll go over that in just a little bit. But for now, we just want to accept this project, and we need to hire some administrators to actually work on this because we currently don't have any. So we're going to staff, applicants, we can filter by administrators, and I honestly prefer to hire like the very best that we can. I know we can train them, but this way we save money in training. And I think probably 4 is enough to start with. So now we can jump back into operations, R&D projects, and make sure to assign our 4 administrators to the commercial license. That will slowly but surely start working. Now, what do we do next? We can't really do a whole lot until we get those administrators up and running. If we go into our funds, you can see that we are technically making money. Ignore this money. Ignore this big negative number down here. This includes like our construction costs. This is our running costs. So everything income versus expenses is here. So the last hour we made $456, which is fantastic. Current hour, we are currently losing money, but I don't know why. This should be fine. We should be making money with 10 stands. I don't know why we are currently losing so much. We should be fine. We should be fine. Let's keep an eye on this and make sure that we are actually making money. And yes, we are currently making money, which is fantastic. So we'll let this run for just a little bit longer until we get the thing happening. I'm going to ignore these emails for now. We don't really care. The other thing we can start working on while we wait is a little bit of a bathroom for our people that we will eventually have in here. So let's just go ahead and add a quick little bathroom. And I actually want to make this something like that. And then we'll also have a bathroom in here. This will be for the people who haven't gone into security yet. I don't know if we need to, but I'm going to do it anyway. And I actually think I want this a little bit smaller. I lied. I want this to go to here instead. Level wall and then that there. Jump into terminal, grab ourselves some walls, and we'll throw this around like so. And throw in a couple of doors. And just the small doors should be fine. With 2 on either side. Then we can just jump into our quick little bathroom tab and throw down some toilets. 6 toilets should be fine for in there, and this side we can do toilets that direction. Throw in a couple of urinals back here. They will be multi-gendered bathrooms, so anyone can use these, which is going to be absolutely fine. We just put the urinals at the back so that the women in here don't have to see the men doing their gross men things, but they should be okay. And then we'll just simply throw a few sinks in and a couple of hand dryers to make everyone nice and happy. A couple of sinks in here as well, and that should be good to go. And the only other thing we can do is add a floor, but they cost money, so let's not do that just yet. Actually, we could do concrete tiles in here. They're nice and cheap, just to differentiate it a little bit. And then the one thing that I did not realize you had to do, you actually have to open these rooms to let people use them. So don't forget to do that. I think I spent my first like 20 hours with a whole bunch of bathrooms built, but none of them were actually usable. So don't forget to do that. That'll just give our construction people something to do as we complete this commercial license project, which is almost done anyway. All right, this is telling us that we currently don't have any bus stops or anything. That is because this is all currently just planned infrastructure and we haven't actually built it yet. So that is something that we definitely need to get built ASAP. We need to get at least this, and let's say this, and we can actually just build this entire section out, I think. It'll cost us 10,000. It's a little bit pricey, but that'll give us some parking and some buses. The parking will actually make us some money in the long run anyway, so that is fine. The next thing we need to do is design our airport. So firstly, we're going to need a secure zone. And I'm thinking for now, we're just going to use this back section here as the secure zone because that's what connects to the thing. But we also need to add some doors so people can get to our stands. So we'll add in a couple of large doors right where these connect. That will be fine. We also need to make sure that we include those doors in the secure zone. I think they are by default, but that's fine. And then we need to get some desks. So first things first, we need boarding desks. This is to let our people onto the aircraft. Just have one for each stand. That will be perfect. We need check-in desks. And these can simply go right at the front door. And we're going to need 2 of these because we have 2 flights scheduled. So we'll throw one in there, and they can check in as soon as they come into the airport. The other thing we're going to need is a security checkpoint. And I'm just going to do one of these for the moment. One of those right there. And then we also need a secure exit right there. Actually, I think I prefer it here. So we're going to extend that secure zone out just a little bit and have the exit be there. That should be fine. And then just to make sure that no one can accidentally wander through there, draw a little in. So this is our terminal. This is our entrance area, and we can have different things going on in here. The only other thing we should really consider is adding some seating so that they can sit down while they're waiting for their flights to depart. So that's probably a good thing to get in. We don't need a ton of it, but that should be fine. And then instead of rebuilding that, we can actually just use the copy paste mode. Grab those and throw them up there. That should, in theory, make these functional as commercial flight things once we have all of this stuff turned on. We can immediately go to our small runway and turn on commercial flights for that, just in case we forget to do that later on. But that should be fine. Once this is all built, we should be able to accept our first commercial flights. I am forgetting one thing. As I'm noticing that this is building, we should go into our projects and make sure our administrators are actually working on something else. So the first thing I want to unlock is night flights, and then we'll jump straight into emergency response units. But night flights is going to be first, just to start making that little bit more money. As currently we cannot fly during the nighttime, they are blocked off, but we'll see that once these actually get built. All right, that is all built up and ready to go. We just want to check that our secure zones do actually include these doorways, and they do, which is fantastic. We can go ahead, check out this first small stand and switch it between general aviation and commercial flights. This is now a commercial flight. The only thing we need to do is make sure that this boarding desk is connected to that stand, and we are good to go. We just do this one for right now as well. We need to wait for this plane to leave before we can change this though. So once that plane leaves, we'll change this one over as well, and that will be all good. Next thing, we need to hire some staff. So since we only have 2 gates right now, we are going to just hire 2 of everyone. So 2 passenger service agents should be more than enough. 2 ramp agents should be more than enough. Actually, we only need 1 security officer because we only have 1 security checkpoint. That's fine, and that should be good to go. But before we start accepting flights, I do want to hire a suite of executives. Now, they might look expensive, but realistically, they're not that bad. So we definitely want to go ahead and hire a CFO. We want to hire a CIO as well, but these guys both suck, so we're going to reject both of them in hopes that we get a new applicant. Hire a COO, a HR director, a procurement director, and a strategy director. These guys also both suck, but we'll hire you anyway. And then we can go into our staff, and we can actually press this train all staff button, but I don't want to do that because that is going to be a lot of money. Instead, we want to filter by executives and potentially at least train you guys until you're all green. That's going to be good enough for me. The only thing we need is a CIO, which enables the auto planner. So that's actually the guy that I wanted most. jump back into executives and let this game run for just a little bit, and hopefully we get a new candidate that isn't terrible. And yeah, Carol Walker, you are officially hired and you are trained up a little bit more. Now, what is this saying? It should be good to go. Don't know what that icon is and why it's telling me things, but hopefully that's fine. It should be working. Now we can go ahead and jump into economy, offered contracts, and we can have a look at the airline contracts. Obviously we want to go for 3 stars because, I don't know, that just seems like a good idea. And you can see they're offering both small and medium airlines. If we can find one that has multiple small airlines like Nordic, that is going to be good, just so that we get a little bit more variety in our airport. It really doesn't matter that much, but we'll go ahead and accept that. We'll accept that, and we'll say accept this one. 3 contracts should be more than enough to fill up our 2 stations. And in fact, we're actually not going to use both of these stations. One of these is going to be dedicated to emergencies only. So if we go into our flight planner by pressing F, we can turn on auto planner. I'm going to space these out by 30 minutes each. That will be fine. And then small aircraft stand 11 is actually going to have auto planner turned off. I believe that's how that works. Yeah, we turn it off there. And that way the auto planner won't schedule airlines to be on this stand. And that can be dedicated to emergencies only. This is the stand that we're going to use when we want actual commercial flights coming in. I still don't know what this notification is about. It should be connected properly. It requires additional staff. These should be fine. I don't understand why that is. Sometimes you'll get weird bugs like this, and it can just help to save the game. Melbourne Airport. Just save the game and reload it. And that will either disappear or I'm missing something entirely, and it is actually a problem that we need to deal with. Yeah, and that notification is gone, so it was in fact just a bug, but that is how you generally fix it if you get one of those and you can't get it to figure out what's going on. So as soon as this airport plane leaves, I can actually dismiss this aircraft so it leaves quicker. Let the game run for a minute. There we go. And once they're off, we can switch between general and commercial. This is now commercial, and we can start accepting flights. So if we go back into our flight planner, 11 should be off. This one should be on. And our CIO should start scheduling flights reasonably quickly. Obviously, we won't get anything today because we are restricted at nighttime, but come Tuesday, we should have our first commercial flight in the airport, which is going to be absolutely fantastic. And there we go. You can see 2 flights coming in. TA418 and TA336 should be coming in the morning. Absolutely fantastic. And of course, these other 7 stands are still being used for general aviation. And as we go along, we'll expand this terminal up, and we can have all of these flights be commercial, and then this side over here is going to be for just general aviation purposes. Night flights is now complete, which is interesting to see. You can now see that we have the full day to work with, so that is fantastic. And we can go ahead and start researching something else. And of course, that is going to be emergency response units, because we are playing on this extreme difficulty. We're going to have emergencies and we're going to have to respond to those emergencies. So that is one of the first things that I want to unlock. That is why we're sort of not spending a lot of money right at the start, is because we need to get that up and running like ASAP. So we should have some flights coming in soon. We'll fast forward until our first commercial flight arrives at our airport. Looks like we actually have some filthy sinks, so we should go ahead and actually hire ourselves a janitor as well. That is going to be a good thing to do. The one should be able to cover this tiny little terminal right now, but keep that in mind. The other thing I kind of want to do is go into our economy and go to our fees and just tell them they have to pay us $5 to use the bathroom. It's not appreciated by passengers, but like realistically, they don't actually care that much. So we'll go ahead and do that and just say you can deal with it. But yeah, they're not going to love that. They're not going to love that, but it will make us a little bit of extra money, which is very, very important in this extreme difficulty playthrough. You can see people wetting their bladders, which is fantastic. All our staff are nice and happy. And don't forget to assign your administrators to their projects, otherwise they will sit there doing absolutely nothing. Alright, our first flight is officially en route. It is holding 18 passengers? No, it's holding 14 passengers, and we're taking 18 away from this airport. Should arrive at 5:23 in the morning. Turnaround time is going to be 3 hours. Departure time will be 8:23. We currently have 18 of 18 passengers at the airport. None of them have checked in. None of them have gone through security. None of them have deboarded, and none of them have boarded. But that's fine. You can see right down here, our people are starting to arrive. The one thing that I did forget to do though is go into our infrastructure and transportation and actually put in crosswalks here so that they can get across. That is very important, and yeah, we should absolutely do that. You can now see our passengers are starting to check in, and our plane has arrived. Our passengers are deboarding. They should immediately leave the airport because there is currently nothing to do. We have passengers coming in through security, getting their bags checked by our security staff, and they will come and sit down and wait for their flight. If we jump in here, we currently have 14 checked in, 8 through security, and everyone has currently deboarded. This might be a little bit late just because I did forget to put in these crosswalks, but we will have to see. If we have a look here, the 3 hour turnaround time should be more than enough. Everyone is currently in security. We can probably start boarding at this point as soon as we get someone to come and work at this small boarding desk, which should be very soon. There we go. A person has started working at the boarding desk, and these passengers should begin boarding this plane. That's all there is to it. We officially have commercial flights ready and good to go. What's the button? F4. Let's have a look as this plane departs, and we might wrap up the video there. I thought I was on you, but I apparently wasn't. Let's go like that, and we'll watch this plane leave. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I am definitely very much enjoying this game. If this is something you would like to see continue on this channel, please do make sure to leave a like on the video, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And until next time, happy building and happy flying. Bye, guys.